All right. Now, Wes, you have something important to talk to us about
I
regarding something that
do.
happened on another show. So I'm going to let you take it away.
I do. So, one of our recent videos, we did a post check and I talked about the bouncer for PS2. It was a my low pick that episode.
Oh, it's a low pick.
And we talked, we had our differences. I enjoyed from what I remember, I enjoyed the game. I was like, "Oh my god." And you were like, "It's trash." I didn't believe you. I'm like, "Okay, you know what?" And I said I was going to play it just to see if it's as bad as you say it is after all these years. And we said I said I would talk about it afterwards. So here I am. I recently played it, and I still like it.
Oh my god.
I still like it. It's okay now. Because I said I couldn't remember what the RPG elements was because considered an action RPG.
Yeah, I
So
forgot also.
yeah, after each fight, you get points and you can increase your life, your power, your defense. But the dialogue is horrible. Oh my goodness! I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh man, really? The dialogue is crap, but it looks really nice. Even to that day, it looks really
It's
shiny.
a
It's
Square
it's
game. Of
it's
course
a
it's going to
square
look
game.
nice.
And it was fine. It was fine. I played through the whole game in a couple hours. It's not a perfect game. It's definitely not a perfect game, but uh, it's what I remember, and I'm gonna stick by it.
You do that, Wes. You do.
I am. I
If it
am.
make if it makes you happy and you like it, that's great. But no, I can't stand aside you on the part of the bouncer.
It was what it was, and that's I'm like, you know what, and the fight scenes are a lot shorter than what I remember because they're like 2 seconds, and then it goes to cutscene, and then there's like another 2 second fight, and then it goes to a
Sounds
cutscene.
like a lot of fun. Interrupting the combat constantly sounds great.
Yeah, I don't know. I got a so I don't know why I have a soft spot for that game.
Well, you can see why I hate it. I just talked about God of War, and you hit this like lull in the mid, like I don't know if I'm in the middle or where I'm at, but I'm just like, Jesus, come on, like let me play the game.
But anyway, that leads into our first topic:
Crappy
tra-
games.
trashy games.
That's right. So yeah, we have a list of games here. Wes and I came up with these together. These are just a list of trash games, like for various reasons. We're gonna run through them and talk about them. Wes, there is no greater place to start than what we just talked about a few minutes ago, which is Superman 64. Take it away.
And that's why I killed it. We have never gotten a good Superman game. Superman 64. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And it tried to capture the feel of the animated series, which was on TV at the time, and it looked horrible. It controlled horrible. It was just not a good game. I couldn't believe they put that out.
I rented it and was like so confused by how bad it was. Like I was like, "What? You're flying through rings?" And like I couldn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
I either couldn't understand the objective, or it was just like impossible to do because it was like broken. You know, I would I think that was another game I took back like the same day. I was just like, I don't even want it. You guys can have it back. Here's my $3 or $5, whatever it costs. Just take your game back, please.
it was bad,
Horrible.
really bad. But I remember when it came out, and people were actually excited for it.
I was excited to rent it. I was like, oh, cool, like Superman. Let's do this.
Yeah, you we don't get Superman games often. So when one comes around, you have high expectations that it's going to be decent. It's going to be fun to play. It
Yeah,
was not
in
fun.
a
Not
3D
fun.
environment, like that sounds like that's would be perfect for Superman, right? Like,
Right, flying around and doing stuff. No,
no, no, no, no.
no. I would rather go back and play the Death and Return of Superman on Nintendo 64, which was a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
I mean, that sounds better.
That was a billion times better than Superman 64.
I don't even know that I've seen that before. That was a beat 'em up on 64. You said
Not 64, Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo. Okay, all right. This makes more sense.
Super
Makes more
Nintendo.
sense.
I'm sorry, Super Nintendo. I'm getting my
Gotcha.
Nintendos mixed up.
No worries, man. Now another stinker we talked about before on this channel, well, probably a while ago. Double Dragon, as you know, a lot of great games in its series. You know, renowned from from the 80s, of course. The NES version is everybody knows that. This is not that. This is the Atari 2600 version, and this just go go watch a video. If I still have the clip, I'll put it in. Holy cow! Yeah,
It's totally unplayable.
and it looks terrible.
It does. It does. And you know, growing up with the Atari, we were so excited because that was the one thing that they kind of harped on was, the arcade game, their arcade smash hit coming home.
Yeah,
And you get it and you pop it in, and even back then we're like, I was like, what is this?
not even close, man. Like, I mean, the NES version looks comparable to the arcade. Like, you could see it.
Yes.
The Atari 2600, yes, I know it's not as powerful. I understand that. I know the graphics aren't quite the same, but it's like if you're not even going to get it close, then don't even bother. Like, just don't. Save everybody their money. Save your programmers their time. The week that you probably gave them to make the game. Now you got to talk about this next one, Wes, because I never played it. So I'll let you take this one away.
Okay, the next two games we're going to talk about kind of broke my heart because huge comic book fan, as I've mentioned several times. So anytime a superhero game or a comic book related game comes out, I get excited. I get really excited. PlayStation 1, they advertised Fantastic Four, and it was multiplayer. And there hasn't been too many Fantastic Four games up to that point. And I don't think there were any. I think this might have been the first one, if I'm not mistaken. Because I know we got some on PS2 when the movies came out with Jessica Alba.
Right. Michael
Um,
Chiklis was in there.
yeah, but this was pre that, and it just wasn't. Oh man, it was not good. And I will always try to find a positive.
Oh, you will.
If there's one, I'll find it. I couldn't find one other than you're playing as a Fantastic Four. That's really it. The playability was atrocious. I'm not even going to talk about the graphics. Graphics were but just there was it totally unplayable. The playability, zero. Fun factor, zero.
Yeah, I mean PS1 was like that was the first generation of like 3D, right? PS1 and 64, so they were still figuring this stuff out. So there's a few titles on this list from that generation. Yeah, from there we have another one. I mean, I haven't even seen the movie, so I mean, we're talking about Matt can't speak to it. I really can't
Mm.
speak to this one. So you guys go ahead and chastise me for not ever seeing the movie. Brenner, if you're watching, yeah, I know. The Crow on PS1, a renowned movie, right?
Oh, that man,
Brandon Lee.
that's one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
You and Brenner, man, you guys are making me want to watch this. You're making me want to watch this. But I don't watch movies hardly ever, like very rarely.
I love The Crow. It was a comic book, so I was familiar with the comic book, and then the movie came out. Brandon Lee. It was sad. It was his last performance, but it's a classic, man. It's a classic. And then we got a PS1 game. I was super excited until I turned it on.
The Angry Video Game Nerd did a video on this. I think within the past few years, it was fantastic. I really enjoyed watching his video. So I have seen the game. I do know what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Oh boy, this thing is. Wes, I'm not. Did you play? Like, did you beat the game, or did you just play it? We're like, this is bad. I'm never playing this again.
I played it and I'm like, this is. You know what? I would rather go back and play Fantastic Four.
Jesus God.
He was very stiff in his animation. it was again, it wasn't good. If I'm not mistaken, it was Acclaim that threw it out.
Yeah, Acclaim had a lot of stinkers too. You know, they had some
They
good
did.
games, but they just kind of like. I feel like Acclaim was that company back then who was just like, we're gonna throw all this crap against the wall. Some of it's gonna work and some of it's not, and you're gonna buy it. You know, unfortunately, some of you are gonna buy all of it. So.
You know, and that unfortunately for the PlayStation 1, that's exactly what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody and their mother who had a computer to make a video game put a game out on PlayStation 1. There was so much stuff coming out, and it was kind of just, let's see what sticks.
Well, I think they did it for two reasons. One, the PS1 was a very popular system, right? But two, it was CD-ROMs, which were super cheap to make at the time compared to like an N64 cartridge or something like that. So there you go, guys. The Crow on PS1, another banger. Now for an officially Wes approved crappy title that you can somehow enjoy,
I do.
Aquaman on the original Xbox. I I know you sent me a copy as kind of like a joke.
I was hoping you would actually play it.
Wes, it's not going to my Xbox, man. It's on my shelf. I have it there. Not in the camera, but on the other shelves that you guys can't see. It's there, Wes. It's not going to win ever. I'm never going to get rid of it. It's a gift from you. I'll always remember you from it. But I don't think that thing is ever going in my Xbox, Wes.
You know what? Okay, this is one of the times where I kind of find a positive. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like again, superhero game. It was on the Xbox. Yes, it wasn't horrible in my opinion. It was fine. It was. You know what? It would have been good if it was like a $20 game, like when it launched, but it was a full price game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I could kind of see, yeah, maybe it might not have been worth the full price, but it was Aquaman. You swam around, and this is when Aquaman had a hook for his hand, and yeah.
You too can get a copy of your Aquaman on Xbox for under $5 today, ladies and gentlemen. Just look at your local retro video game stores or any convention. I'm sure you'll find it in the bargain bins.
Dang, it's $5 now.
Yeah, it's like $5, and that's complete in box.
Spend that $5. Play Aquaman. Give him some love.
I haven't looked at it in like probably a year or two. Maybe it went up a little from the popularity of the movies with Jason, whatever his name is, Momoa. Is that
Jason
right?
Momoa.
Yeah, he might.
But you know what?
Up a little bit.
Aquaman for Xbox is still better than Superman Nintendo 64.
I don't doubt that one bit. I would certainly play that Aquaman game before I ever popped Superman 64 back into an N64. That's for damn sure. Next up was a hit show that got turned into a movie in the early 2000s and ended up coming out into a game somehow. Sounds great, doesn't it? Charlie's Angels. I remember this came out in the Xbox, PS2, and GameCube generation. Now, which version did you unfortunately buy, Wes?
I bought the GameCube.
Okay. That would have been the version I probably would have also bought if I got it at the time. And I don't remember why. Maybe the graphics of that game looked better on GameCube, but I also gravitated to the GameCube version. Granted, I never bought it, but yeah.
Don't ask me why I bought it. I just did.
You buy everything. That's as you're going to realize. Wes owns probably every game that's on this list of the crappy games.
I don't know why I bought it. I don't know. I don't know why I bought it. It was there. Maybe somebody gave it to me. I don't know, but I have it. It's not a good game.
It was like a third-person like action game, like you like brawl sort of, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's in 3D, so it's not that great. Like,
yep, multiplayer.
Yeah,
multiplayer brawler. This Charlie's Angels. Why they had to do a Charlie's Angels game, I don't know.
I don't know. Couldn't tell you, sir. Did they make a sequel to that? I feel like they did, but I could be wrong.
I don't think so. I think it was just the one and done. I know they did sequel to the movies.
Okay, all right. Maybe that's what the wires in my brain are crossed. It's probably that would make a lot more sense. The movies probably did much better than the game.
And then they tried to reboot it again.
They did?
Charlie's Angels? Yeah.
When?
With Kristen Stewart and they recently, like a couple years ago.
insane. That movie bombed, I'm sure, right?
It did bomb.
Okay, good, good. These studios need to learn. Like, Jesus, some things just need to die, Wes. Sometimes you gotta let things go.
I agree.